So first up for this series of reviews is going to be Cyclops. Cyclops, of course, being the actual first X-Men. They figured that was appropriate to start with. His real name, of course, being Scott, nicknamed Slim Summers. Pretty good sculpt for the time. This is way before Toy Biz had started doing their legends. So articulation and sculpting is still not as good as it will get. There's some nice detailing. He's got a pretty big scowl or gritting his teeth there. You got these nice folds in his tunic in the back. So for articulation, his head moves side to side. His arms move around all the way, and they move in, forward, and back this way, and they bend at the elbows. He's got waist articulation, and his legs move forward and back, and he's got a bend at the knee, and his feet bend. One thing that I do find odd about this is how tiny his waist is. It looks almost comical. He's like a size 1. But that's offset by the cool part about the figure is his visor. And let's see there, his light piping. Yes, this figure has light piping. Not only can you see his eyes through the visor, but the visor flips up and you can have his eyes without the visor. That's pretty neat. Now the paint is alright. I mean, it's got kind of this very bright yellow and a dark blue. But of course that's keeping with the costume. For those of you who don't know, Cyclops' power is he's got these force blasts. They're optic force blasts. And they're not heat, they're just pure concussive force. The only thing that can hold them in check is ruby quartz. And his powers, I believe they are connected to the sun. He's able to store energy from the sun and convert it into his power. Well, I'm just going to go into his backstory before he was an X-Men, and leave the rest for another time. Is a runaway orphan, and he's at this point he doesn't know what happened to his family, his mother and father, or his brother, because of what will be revealed in the future as an airplane crash. He hit his head and had some memory problems, and that's why he can't control his blasts without the ruby quartz visor. And so he runs away from the orphanage, and he uses his powers to deflect some falling debris on a construction site, and that freaks everyone out. So a bunch of guys chase him, and they end up chasing him towards another mutant. A mutant criminal named the Jack O' Diamonds. And Jack O' Diamonds senses that he's a mutant and wants to take him under his wing and recruit him as an accomplice to his crimes. Just a brief thing on Jack of Diamonds, his powers and such. He was a mutant whose powers were unleashed by exposure to a radioactive substance. He's got some really bizarre mix of powers. He's got teleportation. He's got a little bit of telepathy. Where he touches this radioactive substance, his hands become diamond hard. Well, they actually become diamonds. They look like diamonds. Very much like Emma Frost is now, but just his hands. So, for their first caper, he wants Scott to help him break into the place where he was exposed to this radioactive substance. And he wants to put the stuff all over his body so he can become indestructible. Well, at first, Scott goes along with it, but he realizes that he can't let this guy have that much power. Now, at the same time, Professor X is tracking both of them. And so things come to a head, and there's a big confrontation at this at this lab. And Professor X helps Scott to get out of this guy's influence. And however, during the confrontation, Jack of Diamond dies, and Cyclops or Scott then joins the X-Men as the first official X-Men. So I guess that'll do it. That'll be it for Cyclops, and stay tuned for the next review.